If you like audiobooks or audio shows, check out a free trial of Audible. Just click the link in the description.
Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is Bruce McGuire.
And Maxwell Powers.
And we are going over another highly controversial, conspiratorial topic. Predictive programming. What is it? Is it real? And how does it affect the master plan of the Illuminati or the New World Order or the reptilian entities that David Icke says exist and dominate the world? A lot of conspiracies to unravel. As always, if you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. And make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, hit the bell for notifications, and make sure you allow those notifications to go through on your device. If you like the video, hit the like button. Feel free to share it across social media platforms. Any questions, comments, thoughts, theories, debunkings, insults, just drop them in the comment section. You could also check us out: Facebook, Reddit, Patreon, Twitter. Patrons do get priority in requesting topics and or cases, as well as podcasters. All right, Maxwell, so you seem to have another bout of deja vu when I informed you of what the podcast topic was. You don't know what predictive programming is? Or another bout of amnesia. You don't know what predictive programming is?
I'm guessing it's programmed by the rulers to the masses to... Yeah, I have no fucking idea.
So basically, it's a form of social engineering and sort of mental acceptance. For example, when the masses are watching television programming, they might see people getting chipped or some kind of transhumanism agenda or some kind of whatever agenda or social programming, social conditioning, social indoctrination, social engineering that the powers that be want to institute in the masses. They supposedly, as this conspiracy theory goes, they either through subliminal programming or predictive programming, they kind of drop clues as to what should be accepted in the future in the forms of entertainment. For example, sci-fi movies or things of that nature where they want something to be accepted. Some people believe, especially there are even those devout Christian fundamentalists who believe that there is some kind of homosexual agenda where I think it was in the 90s, the media had a heavy gravitation towards displaying any kind of gay characters increased tenfold from the previous decades, as if they wanted to normalize it. Some people believe in Agenda 21, the United Nations alleged incentive to reduce the world's population. So they'd be doing that through different means, many different mind-shocking means, including as Alex Jones sometimes with his frog. Do you remember his frog outburst about how they're turning the frogs gay and things like that?
No.
Oh man, you're missing out. Do you know who Alex Jones is?
Yes. Yes, cool.
Are you a big Alex Jones fan?
I haven't heard him in like a few years.
All right, so anyway, the point is predictive programming kind of sets the stage for how certain social engineers or masters and controllers might want the world to be, so they leak these whatever they may be, they leak it. Some people even think that 9/11, we haven't done a dedicated podcast on that. I'm not sure if we will, due to its highly controversial nature, even though that's been requested. I mean, we're going to have some serious patrons request that for us to do it. But yeah, some people believe there have been predictions of 9/11, everything from old Simpsons episodes. The Simpsons is a favorite of occultists who believe that the Simpsons kind of foretold many world events, including Donald Trump riding up that escalator in a bid for presidency, and then that ended up happening. It's kind of creepy. And something, 9/11 was a big one when I first started researching that, the predictive programming. And it's kind of the tie-in theory there is that if you believe in the cosmic consciousness and everybody's consciousness together is kind of crafting reality, whether it's holographic or not, then you'd have to have the masses all on the same page to affect reality. So if certain evil masters and controllers, the Illuminati, the New World Order, if you will, if they want things to be a certain way, they kind of tap into the subconscious, because when you watch television, you're in an alpha brainwave state. You are suggestive, especially when you're relaxed, especially when you're watching comedies, as opposed to alert, maybe trying to learn something when you're watching something educational or whatnot. But when you're watching a comedy, that's an easy way to tap into the subconscious. So if you're watching the tell lies vision programming, what are you being programmed with? Are lies being told to your vision?
That's pretty interesting. So it's pretty much desensitization to what the agenda is.
Yes, it's kind of getting people comfortable. So when robots come out, or when people, for example, the chip, if people getting a chip implant, if everybody in movies and TV shows has it, that there's a certain normalcy that kind of invades your psyche. So when, let's say, 10 or 20 years later, you're going to think it's slightly more normal, at least, if not completely normal, if the media has programmed you to believe that it's socially acceptable.
You know what's interesting with all these technologies is that these entrepreneurs and business people in the tech industry, they really, most of them, I think, I mean, all of them, they don't really have the agenda of becoming part of the ruling class. They just, care about good products, and making life convenient. But it's just that the technologies that they develop that make life better and easier for people are um, also great tools for rulers and evil people to control the masses. So it's kind of like this is how I see it. I mean, I think most entrepreneurs are like good people, because I would develop the same shit. Like if I had all the resources, I would develop all kinds of shit, like the chips, the robots, the fucking eye scan, the fucking. I want to make life easier. I want to walk into a fucking store and walk the fuck out without having to fucking like go through a cash register and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
You're
fucking waiting in line and shit.
you're
Fuck
one
that.
you're one lazy bastard, Maxwell.
I don't give a shit. Like fucking, I just want fucking, like, I want to blink and make shit happen. Like I want to fucking like fucking twitch my fucking pinky and have shit delivered and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, what the fuck's my point with this?
I don't know, your Maxwell
I
powers.
I just I don't know. Well, that's basically the point. Like the tech industry really has no like ruling evil agenda and shit. Like they just fucking want to produce the best shit for everybody, and the ruling class, the evil fucking Illuminati shit. They manipulate, or kind of like the tech industry leaders become pawns to them. So they don't know, and that they're part of the fucking, like, the tech leaders. They don't know that they're somewhat being manipulated to fucking,
How do you know
like,
that though? How do you know they didn't sell out?
well, I don't. This is just my fucking theory and shit. Like
Okay.
whatever I say is
Okay.
just my fucking opinion. Like I don't know shit. I'm just kind of like going with how I see things, like what I know about psychology and social psychology, that kind of shit, and
Okay.
just my basic intuition. Not really, I have no
Okay.
research and
Okay.
facts and
Okay.
shit.
Go on.
But that's about it. I don't know. Like that's just my take
Okay,
on
so
the
you
whole.
think you think they're completely not in it. So for example, you think Zuckerberg, okay,
I
here's what I think. I think from the outset you might be correct. Most, not all entrepreneurs, you have to find out who's been backed by the big money billionaires, but the ones that started from nothing, you're probably right. They probably didn't have, from the get-go, they probably had good intentions. And of course, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But either way, they probably had good intentions, and somewhere along the way, some kind of corruption happens, right? For example, in the whole Facebook scandal, do you believe that Zuckerberg didn't know what the technology would be used for? I mean, maybe not day one, but at some point. I mean, isn't he relatively smart? I mean, I don't know. I would guess
I personally I think Mark Zuckerberg is a good dude. I know like Alex Jones like really like likes to quote him like about what he said, like the dumb motherfuckers. Like supposedly he was quoted and there's like video proof that Mark Zuckerberg said like these dumb motherfuckers, like meaning us, we give like private details about us and we don't give a shit. And Mark Zuckerberg said like these dumb motherfuckers like talking to us about him. But I mean, I really like. I mean, I've said the same shit about other people. Like I don't know. Like I don't really like mean it. I don't give a shit. Fucking Mark Zuckerberg said these dumb motherfuckers. Like I don't know. I talked to my friends about that. Like like I don't know. It's just like talking smack. I mean, like everyone talks smack and shit.
All right. That's not my point. I don't. Yes, you're right. He could have been joking. We don't know the context, so I don't think. I don't think that goes both. That goes both ways.
Okay.
So,
Let me ask you a question about like the fucking the privacy scandal thing. Is that what you're talking about? Like fucking if he knew
not just that. Like, let's go big picture. I think he was smart enough. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe he's not that smart, but I would assume that in order to get to where he got to, he has to be at a certain level of intelligence to understand what the technology could be used for and not like for example, how if the government really wants to subpoena Facebook for whatever, or if the government just flat out hacks into Facebook and gets any details they want on anybody. I mean, there's a whole bunch of new information coming out on a lot of these new apps. Their sole purpose, they were actually contracted by either the CIA or some kind of government entity to create an app that scans your face. Did you know about this?
I
Some of these new,
I knew back then, but like
yeah, some
I
of
don't
these
know.
new apps, they were specifically designed to get everybody's facial recognition features to implement the Big Brother cameras everywhere, which is another instance of predictive programming. If you're watching all these TV shows of the future where there's cameras everywhere, which there were in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you had a lot of sci-fi, futuristic, dystopic movies 1984, whatever, where the big brother in the future watches everything. So that's in the back of your brain a little bit. So as it's slowly happening, you're slightly more familiar with it. You're at least slightly less likely to be up in arms about it. Whereas if there was no predictive programming ever and all of a sudden a million cameras were rolled out, people would be like, whoa, 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 this is an invasion of privacy. This is weird. But the slow seep of predictive programming throughout the decades is that a means to an end. But anyway, my point with the apps is some of the newer apps, they're pretty obvious about it. And then like some of the DNA tests that you do, they want a sample of your DNA. They'll put it in a database. Obviously they say they won't, but are you really going to trust these gigantic corporations in bed with government? Or at least, but even if they're not, even if they're good business, even if they're good companies that have no intention of handing over anything, are you really going to bet that their servers are that secure that they can't be hacked by the US government, or that certain politicians or lobbyists won't introduce new laws that enable them to access those databases on a whim? So then they're going to have every single person's DNA, every single person's fingerprint, with phones where you use your fingerprint to unlock the phone. I mean, that doesn't strike you. I mean, forget the government. Somebody else could hack into the phone or hack into the server that has your fingerprint on it. Everything's in the cloud.
I trust mostly the companies, the private companies, and but I don't trust the state, the government. And
But why would you
because they
trust?
could pass
But why would you trust
laws.
But how do you know the
Well,
government?
for the most part, it's not like I think the companies. I don't know. They just. I don't know what you mean. Like I trust that. I mean, they're willing to secure as much as they can, but
But why do you even trust? Why do
I
you
do
even
think it's
trust that?
possible that there's gonna get
No, but
hacked
how do
or
you know they
whatever.
weren't even how do you know they weren't funded at least in part, or how do you know they're not offered tax breaks? How do you know they're not going to be corrupted?
I don't know that.
So
I
why
don't
would
know
you
that.
trust? So why would you trust them? It
So
doesn't make any sense.
it's not like I don't know if the trust is the right word. Like I mean, I mean, I give like a lot of my information is on Facebook. I mean, I basically, it's not like I don't know what the word is. It's not a. it's a convenient giving over privacy.
Yeah, so some people, that's an interesting way to put it, because a lot of people, especially in the conspiracy field right now, that's basically how they hoodwink everybody, because they basically, would the average individual give up their freedom for convenience? Because it seems like that's what's happening. Not just their privacy, but their freedom. It's just
Yes,
everything
I
just
think I think it's a matter of convenience for me. Like when Amazon first came out, like everyone was scared to put their fucking credit card on it and shit.
yeah, I
Like
remember that.
everybody, I mean every fucking body, like you know me, like I smacked my like I laid it down like right away because
Yeah.
I don't like inconvenience. I'm a very early adopter of technology, so like everything that comes out I just take because I don't know, I'm a fucking idiot. Or I'm just an early adopter. I don't know what the fuck I am.
All right. Well, as long as you know what you're doing, and you seem to be aware of your sacrifice, whereas a lot of the the masses might not be thinking of it that way. But it's a little bit strange how trusting people are. I mean, whatever happened to trust, like respect should be earned, right? You don't just randomly give away all of your info first and then say, "Wait a second, that wasn't, I mean, you got to think about it first. The same way you're not going to go to your neighbor's house and be like, by the way, here's my birth certificate, here's my social. You might not need it, but I trust you with it. Why would you do that? Like, it's a little strange to me. But anyway, some of these new apps, they were specifically rolled out for facial recognition and on the unsuspecting masses. And even in some of the fine print on some of these apps to use them, they actually have some very, very scary terms and conditions if anybody out there wants to read them. It's yes, it's quite mind-shocking. But let me read this blog post, pretty interesting blog post by the Coincidence Theorist. This is on thecoincidencetheorist.com. Predictive programming, creepy media foreshadowing, or harmless coincidence. I know how you love those coincidences, Maxwell. Were we warned of events like 9/11, 7/7, and the sinking of the Titanic before they happened? The coincidence theorist investigates. The theory. What is predictive programming? Predictive programming, a theorized method of mass mind control, proposes that people are conditioned through works of fiction to accept planned future scenarios. Researcher Alan Watt defines this phenomenon as, quote, the power of suggestion using the media of fiction to create a desired outcome, end quote. Watt's work on this topic is excellent and should definitely be checked out. How would it work? Details of pre-planned societal changes are intentionally revealed to the masses through various forms of media. Propagandists use this type of foreshadowing as a means of preemptively minimizing resistance. Repeatedly exposing the public to the same specific themes should wear them down into a state of passive acceptance. By the time said changes start to manifest in reality, few will even think to question the developments, let alone rebel against them. Fiction is the vehicle used to deliver these predictions for an important reason. When most people watch a film, for example, they see it as a benign form of entertainment and nothing more. Therefore, as the viewer's guard is lowered, messages can bypass the normal critical thinking process and download directly into the subconscious like a virus. For predictive programming to work as a valid form of psychological conditioning, the following set of general rules and assumptions have to be made. One, a group of powerful people with a common agenda might be able to exert a special influence over the entertainment industry. And by the way, I think we talked about this before. The Illuminati symbolism that's all over music videos, movies. I mean, it all amounts to how much of a coincidence one is willing to accept. I don't know. I think we discussed this previously. I don't remember what you said about it, Maxwell.
Well, when it comes to like the arts and like the freaking Simpsons and shit, I think a lot of these artists are like kind of like they're kind of bored or they're kind of like just playing around. Like when they put in like fucking Illuminati symbols and shit. So they know about like the conspiracy theorists, you know, around like so they kind of put up stuff because I don't know, it's just part of the work.
So
Like
you think they just turn the clock? Well, okay, part of predictive programming is,
like
for example, 9/11 symbolism everywhere with either two towers or the actual time being 9/11 for a lot of movies as opposed to any other time. I mean, it seems like there's an unusual amount of clocks that are set to 9/11 in just so many movies and TV shows, and it's a little strange, don't you think, or no?
it could be planned. I don't know, like fucking some Illuminati master fucking told the artist, you better make this 9/11 image on the fucking Simpsons for a half a second for subliminal
You want me to?
programming or some
You want me?
shit.
You want a mind shock, Maxwell? Okay, this is going to be a huge mind shock. So, do you know? So, do you know who Aleister Crowley is?
Yeah, yeah.
So he's yes. So he's a okay. There's a lot of conflicting information. Let's call him an occultist for now. Some people believe he's a Satanist and he sacrificed humans and worshiped demons, which might be true. I don't know what he did, but yeah. So when I first learned about this, when I first looked at this extreme Illuminati symbolism and predictive programming many years ago, I thought it was all a coincidence. I was pulling a Maxwell. I was just like, oh, that's a coincidence. I mean, there's so many movies being made; it's a coincidence. And then, for example, in The Dark Knight, you have the Sandy Hook reference on a map, and to the shooting that's going to happen at Sandy Hook, and all those things. I was like, okay, this is all a coincidence. And then I checked who the production designer was. Do you want to take a guess, Maxwell?
No, who's that? Oh
Ale-
yeah, that wait, wait, that shit. Go
Aleister
ahead.
Crowley's grandson.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest, most influential occultists, who's his bloodline, who intermingled with the most powerful of the elite of the world, happens to be working on Hollywood movies, and that happened to have the most symbolism. I mean,
Well,
is
let me
that
ask you
too
this:
much?
what do we know about the grandson? I mean, what if he's like not a he's like anti grandfather or some shit?
Well, we don't know anything. He's actually quite reclusive.
Yeah, like I'd like to see what his nature is. Like if he's anti grandfather, then and he works as in a production company. I don't know. That's cool. Like that's nothing wrong with that. But you know, but I guess I don't know. I could be missing that information. That thing about Sandy Hook. I don't know. I gotta learn more about that. But
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty scary stuff. I kind of stopped looking at it because when you stack coincidences so high, I mean, I don't even really want to. It's so dark how overt some of it is. Now, the reason behind it, like you said, it could be people screwing around. But by the way, Nathan Crowley is his name. I'm gonna switch over to one article real quick, just so people understand the nature of how deep this goes. IlluminatiWatcher.com had an article published by Isaac Weishaupt, I'm sure that's his real name, on January 17th, 2015. It's about the Illuminati and occult symbolism of Interstellar. In my opinion, one of the best films of 2014 was Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. While I enjoyed this film on multiple levels, and I've talked to several others who hated this film, there is a much more disturbing agenda lying just beneath the surface. This sci fi film was loaded with occult symbolism that mostly went by unnoticed by the mainstream, but I'm hoping to shed some light on the hidden language that Nolan buried into the plot and visuals. Let's take a look. Christopher Nolan and Aleister Crowley reveal Illuminati agenda. Before we get into the film itself, let's cover the foundations of how this film was even created. The director, Christopher Nolan, appears to be revealing the Illuminati agenda incrementally through films such as Interstellar and the Dark Knight trilogy with the Aurora shooting conspiracies. For example, Sandy Hook identified as target in Batman Dark Knight movie. Inception with its plot of mind control, and Transcendence with occultist Johnny Depp's transhumanism agenda. Some of that stuff's really scary, especially for people who read the Bible, because especially Revelation. I mean, how many coincidences are you willing to accept? I know Maxwell's willing to accept probably infinite coincidence, but also, as a side note, there was also the all-seeing eye symbol on one of the movie posters for Interstellar. Interstellar has been compared to another sci-fi tale from 1884 called Flatland. We're gonna have to go over that one on a Flat Earth podcast, which is also considered one of the many coded tales warning about the impending push for totalitarianism, fascist rulers, or for the conspiracy-minded, the New World Order the Illuminati seek to impose on us. So this sci-fi tale was 1884. I mean, not so recent. George Orwell's film Animal Farm was also considered one of those coded totalitarianism films, and you'll recall that I've explored it. Its funding by the CIA in my book, A Grand Unified Conspiracy Theory, The Illuminati, Ancient Aliens, and Pop Culture. I have not read that, but actually, maybe his name really is Isaac Weishaupt. Huh, very interesting. The Mockingbird Op funded the Hollywood film Animal Farm, which was based on George Orwell's book of the same name that was a warning about communism. Orwell also wrote 1984, coincidentally, Maxwell. Orwell's 1984 is set exactly 100 years from Flatland, written in 1884. Is that another coincidence, Maxwell?
Yep.
Okay,
Wait,
Orwell.
what the hell is Flatland?
I just said what it was.
Oh, it's like
It
Flat
was
Earth
a
and shit?
sci-fi. No, not exactly. It was a sci-fi story from 1884, which foreshadowed totalitarianism,
Uh,
similar to George Orwell's
was
1984.
was it as popular as 1984 is when it first came out?
I don't know. I would assume no. I mean, what's popular in 1884? I mean, that's so long ago. I mean, what gets popular? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really know, but I don't know, maybe like, well, books get popular, so like, I don't know who the popular authors are in 1884 and
All
shit,
right,
but
so here's the breakdown. It was written by Edwin A. Abbott in 1884, published by Seeley and Company. It was actually the genre is actually listed as mathematical fiction. Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions, is a satirical novella by the English schoolmaster Edwin Abbott. That's an interesting name. Would you name your kid with the middle name as the same as your last name?
um,
some
well,
people
he
some
had a
people
choice.
some people would say that there's a symbolism behind that as well. And Edwin Abbott also wrote Francis Bacon, an account of his life and works. And of course, Francis Bacon is really big in the occult. So he's also written some other interesting things. But Flatland was his best known work, which describes a two-dimensional world and explores the nature of dimensions. It is often categorized as science fiction, though it could more precisely be called mathematical fiction. With the advent of modern science fiction from the 1950s to present day, Flatland has seen a revival in popularity, especially among science fiction and cyberpunk fans. Okay, so it seems to have so science fiction got popular in the 50s, so this novel seemed to have been repopularized then. So when it was first released in 1884, it might not have been the most popular. But let me see here. Critical reception. Although Flatland was not ignored when it was published, it did not obtain a great success. In the entry on Edwin Abbott in the Dictionary of National Biography, Flatland is not even mentioned. So I guess that answers your question. It wasn't really that popular. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Why did you ask that question?
I wanted to see if it was like a freaking obscure fucking book, and then someone dug it out for fucking this having the same date as 1984.
Well, 100 years later, George Orwell, 1984 was first published in 1949, but the title is 1984, 100 years coincidentally 100 years after Flatland was published. I don't know, whatever. But so it seems like it wasn't the most obscure of all time either, but it did not seem to be popular until the 50s when the sci-fi became more popular. Okay. So George Orwell also wrote 1984, which is the totalitarian warning novel about a dreary future of Big Brother government. Orwell was rumored to be a member of the British socialist group the Fabian Society, along with Aldous Huxley, writer of Brave New World, which I personally thought was better than 1984. But that is interesting. I actually did not know that detail. It says Orwell was rumored, so I wonder if that's confirmed. Very interesting. We do have to do podcasts on both Orwell and Aldous Huxley, who is was quite a thinker and is super controversial as well, because some of the things he said seem to be very anti-Illuminati, but others believe that he was controlled opposition or part of predictive programming. Operation Mockingbird had its tentacles ensnared in various affairs throughout the world. Example, overthrowing foreign governments. And it would use Hollywood and the entertainment industry to manipulate the population in order to stay on track with the Illuminati agenda. Does that change anything for you, Maxwell? Because if the CIA or government agencies are funding some of these movies, either overtly or not, or secretly, they could institute people like Nathan Crowley into these positions and say, they could give the studio orders. I mean, they're backing it and they're the government. So this might not be as innocent as you claim, whereas some of these Hollywood people just happen to be devout conspiracy theorists who know all these details about conspiracy theories somehow, and then just put them in just to screw around.
Well, I mean, like, if I don't know, personally, I would, if I were like a writer, like I would write things about conspiracies and stuff, and I think if I was in like if I were in the Hollywood system, I'm sure like some Illuminati dude is gonna approach me and like threaten my life if I don't change the script a little bit to fit their needs. I can see that happening. So, but I don't think it's like a full Illuminati 100%. Like, this
So
is the
I
way.
don't think anybody thinks that. I think it's just
Okay,
these little bits
but
and
I think that's I can see that happening. Like, let's say like Interstellar was, you know, let's say the script goes through the system, right, and then someone likes it, like Nolan likes it, so the Illuminati dude gets informed. Oh wait, Nolan really likes the script, and then the Illuminati dude's gonna go over there. Hey, Nolan, with a gun to his head, you got to change this part, and this part. And then Nolan says, okay, just don't kill my kids, don't cut my cock off, or whatever they have to do, and just I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that, I wouldn't guess they operate that way. Most people believe that these high-ranking Hollywood people are kind of just roped in. I don't really want to touch the Epstein thing, but he was connected to a lot of people. Were they all part of some kind of satanic, devil worshipping ring involved in human trafficking? This is the stuff that used to get laughed at years ago when Alex Jones first said it, when David Icke said it. I mean, they're even older conspiracy theorists. These were the theories that were just laughed at by so many people that high ranking politicians or billionaires, millionaires could be involved in some of these rings, and now it's all coming out public, and it seems it's if it wasn't so sad and there were so many people suffering as a result of it, it would almost be funny on how all these conspiracies, that it seems like the harder people laugh at certain conspiracies, the more obvious those conspiracies are when they come out in the open.
Yeah, yeah.
Christopher Nolan actually wrote Interstellar. So I'm not sure at which moment if he's in on it, if he's part of their club, then he would have wrote it. They would have kind of been like, just make sure you work this into the script instead of putting a gun to his head and saying, change this, this, and this.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay, back to this. So, does this indicate that Nolan is toying with Illuminati plot lines and references? In an interview with Wired, Christopher Nolan dropped this reference to Flatland. I explained that her dialogue is about analogy, it's about perspective. It all comes back to Flatland, I think. If you're a two dimensional being, you can't see two dimensionals, you can see one. If you're three-dimensional, you can observe that second dimension. To me, time is like that. We can't see it. I believe that he might be alluding to the idea that we can be subjected to a control system without being able to observe it. Kind of like we're not in a high enough vantage point to see the agenda, unlike those at the top of the pyramid. Nolan was interviewed by Entertainment Weekly in regards to his influences, namely Kubrick, who's connected to a lot of conspiracy topics, and he cited the following for inspiration for Interstellar. Asked if he was looking at 2001 anew as he prepares to shoot Interstellar, Nolan says, I think anytime you look at science fiction in movies, there are key touchstones. Metropolis, Blade Runner, 2001. Whenever you're talking about getting off the planet, 2001 is somewhat unavoidable. But there is only one 2001, so you don't want to get too near to that. I find it interesting that he cites Metropolis as well, because that is one of the first films to push occult symbolism, as we explored in my hip hop conspiracy book, Sacrifice Magic Behind the Mic. He's really plugging a lot of his stuff here. But have you seen Metropolis, by the way?
No.
It is so creepy, I don't even want to watch it. I've seen clips from it. The themes that Metropolis goes over is really, really, really scary. I mean, they got robots. They got it came out in 1927.
You know what's weird with me is like I actually look forward to robots. Like, I mean, I do have that a little bit of fear, that Terminator scenario, the Illuminati scenario. I don't know, that kind of shit. But I mean, it's possible that robots will kill us and make us extinct, and AI takes over. But I look forward to having robots and shit do all kinds of shit.
Okay, so this article goes on. Other films and music videos glorify transhumanism by showing the superiority of these augmented humans over their traditional counterparts. The first full length sci fi film was called Metropolis, and this 1927 silent film featured a dystopia with elites living it up while the commoners suffered grueling conditions in order to provide energy to the rich. So is this also sort of like the Matrix, where humans are batteries? The main character tries to reconcile the disparity of wealth between the two by joining forces with one of the commoners, only to find out that she is actually a robot covered in skin. During this film, you see symbolism of the Whore of Babylon, the Tower of Babylon, and one of the machines the people toil to keep going is called the Moloch machine. Moloch referred to the ancient horned god deity. And this is also quite big in Illuminati and Satanism. Do you think that's all a coincidence, Maxwell?
Yeah.
This seems to imply the film was produced by people who followed the occult belief system and financed by similar folks. It was the highest budget ever for a film at that time. Even Nazi propaganda minister Dr. Joseph Goebbels was captivated by the film, and we all know how dearly the Nazis held the occult belief system of theosophy. Fast forward to modern pop music, and you'll see performers like Beyonce and Lady Gaga dressing up in garb to emulate the robotic character named Fake Maria from the Metropolis film. Fake Maria manipulated the city and drove the men wild with lust for her to the point that they would abandon their own children to pursue her. Similar to Nazi Joseph Goebbels, the music industry has taken a particular fondness to the film and the fake Maria robotic character. The Queen song Radio Gaga had a music video that featured scenes from Metropolis. And this makes me wonder if it bears any influence on Stefani Germanotta's Lady Gaga character. Lady Gaga also referenced Metropolis and Fake Maria in her videos for Alejandro, Born This Way, and Applause. Whitney Houston's Queen of the Night video had clips of Metropolis, and she wore the Fake Maria costume and sang lyrics about driving men crazy with her sexiness, while Kylie Minogue also paid homage to the character in her concert series from the 2000s. So they're all dressed like this robot from Metropolis. Kind of weird. All a coincidence, right, Maxwell?
Yeah.
In that book, right after those thoughts on Metropolis, I go into great detail on occultist magician Aleister Crowley's influence on all of this and the entertainment industry. Is it any coincidence we see one of Aleister Crowley's relatives employed by Nolan as the production designer on the sets of the Dark Knight trilogy and Interstellar? Nathan Crowley was featured in the art newspaper's article on a display of Egyptian symbolism found in a superhero exhibit at the Met. Nathan Crowley is not only the production designer of Batman Begins and Dark Knight, but as revealed to Flotsam, he has his own supervillain heritage. Yes, infamous UK occultist Aleister Crowley is a direct relative. He's my grandfather's cousin, but we were never allowed to even mention his name because we were a very Quaker family. Some argue that Nathan Crowley knew about the theater shootings in Aurora, Colorado, and Sandy Hook, which is why we saw both of these names in Dark Knight Rises. All a coincidence, right, Maxwell?
Yeah.
We also see actor Matthew McConaughey playing the lead role in Interstellar, an interesting choice because he was in the HBO series True Detective, a show I also exposed in Illuminati symbolism in HBO's True Detective for its ties to Crowley and the Illuminati. Absolutely reminiscent of Aleister Crowley and all of the sex magic stuff we see going on in the entertainment industry. It also supports the theory that the Illuminati and the occult are underground doing rituals with children and drinking blood. The whole deal with the feces and urine are signs of magic because they are used to entice and draw in the evil spirits as well. Saturn and alchemy symbolism. At this point, I should warn the reader that there will be some spoiler alerts in this article. In the film, we find there is a wormhole used as a shortcut to get from our solar system into another. This is the key plot of the film, finding another world to live on since Earth is no longer sustainable. Before the ending of the film and the big reveal, we are led to believe that aliens placed this wormhole for humanity as a way of helping us out. Regulars to IlluminatiWatcher.com should appreciate that this wormhole was placed by the planet Saturn. And of course, Saturn is believed to be Satan by some. Saturn, Satan. This is a planet I've covered as the thread that connects several conspiracies on the Illuminati and the occult. In the comprehensive post on decoding Illuminati symbolism, Saturn and the Black Cube, I go into great detail on this multifaceted symbol, including the three-dimensional cube, which appears as a way of demonstrating the tesseract we see at the end of the film, a multidimensional cube. The tetractys or tetrad is the triangular shape composed of 10 points, which was a secret mystical symbol to Pythagoras. It appeared in various forms, one of which is arguably the Kabbalah. The 10 sephirots of the Kabbalah correspond to the 10 points of the tetractys. If you take 7 of the 10 points to form a cube, you are left with 3 dots that represent the ethereal, invisible nature of the world, while the 7 of the cube represent the material, the three-dimensional world. Hollywood has been pushing the agenda of aliens coming from Saturn with other films like Superman, Man of Steel as well. And some people believe the ultimate predictive programming is actually aliens. We talked about this before with Project Bluebeam and Revelation and the Great Deception. If the Great Deception, if the final plan to roll in New World Order by the Illuminati is to stage a fake alien invasion, does that explain why aliens are some of the most prevalent themes in fiction in the past century?
It's possible.
I mean, you even have shows on the History Channel, because I remember way back when the History Channel was viewed as legit. When Ancient Aliens first came out on the History Channel, a lot of people complained because they're like, what is this? The History Channel is supposed to be legit. And now they're kind of pushing aliens as well, the existence of aliens, all these things. It's kind of strange. You don't find any of that strange?
No.
You don't find anything about anything strange. An alien could walk up to you and you'd be like, that's not strange. The reason the aliens placed the wormhole near Saturn was supposedly a reference to Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey, which had a monolith stone near the moons of Saturn that transported the astronaut to another dimension. I've got an entire symbolism analysis on 2001 A Space Odyssey in the book called Kubrick's Code. Ancient Aliens. In this film, we saw the idea of becoming gods and expanding out to the universe, which is one of the key tenets of the occult. They believe the aliens seeded us, and the ultimate way of pleasing these alien gods is to reach out to space and show them that we've reached their status of high-level intelligent beings capable of traversing the universe. This theme was also explored in Prometheus, where we saw ancient astronaut theories showing how mankind was created by the aliens and the unfortunate consequences of finding these entities. More on Kubrick and the fake moon landings. I wonder what this guy's take is on flat Earth, because if flat Earth is a true conspiracy, where does that put all of this stuff? The most high-profile conspiracy theory about this film was the fact that they discuss the faked moon landings conspiracy theory. In the film, they rewrote the textbooks and claimed that we faked the lunar landings in order to bankrupt the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The film alleges that this is done in order to teach kids about life on Earth rather than worrying about space. Did Nolan know something about the faked moon landings? Was he privy to the same secrets that Kubrick knew, who allegedly filmed the fake moon landing videos? As discussed earlier, there are comparisons drawn to Kubrick's 2001 that include the iconic monolith. In Interstellar, there are helper robot entities named TARS and Case. When you look at these two robots, you'll easily see they are a play on the 2001 monolith. As a side note, the voice of the robots was done by Bill Irwin, who also starred in a 1998 film called Illuminati. That's a coincidence as well, right, Maxwell?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I wonder what your threshold is where it moves from coincidence to not coincidence, because you don't seem to have one. You think everything about everything is a coincidence.
I don't know. I gotta figure that out.
These monolith stones help save humanity when they sacrifice themselves into the black hole that allows them to send back relevant data needed to solve the formula for overcoming gravity. The monolith stones do this around the planet Saturn, which is drawing yet another reason to believe Saturn is what is ultimately being worshipped here. MK Ultra mind control. Like all Illuminati symbolism films, we see aspects of MK Ultra mind control. In Interstellar, we hear complex discussions on life in the fifth dimension, of which I'm not even going to attempt to explain. Nolan uses complex theories behind science and physics like we saw in Inception as well, which was a film that showed us the exploration of mind control through the hacking of the human mind. Nolan employed the theories of astrophysicist Kip Thorne to derive the actual science for Interstellar, but it should also be noted that he heavily used the artwork of M.C. Escher here, as well as in Inception with the use of Penrose steps. In an interview with the Daily Beast, Nolan said the following: "I'm very inspired by the prints of M.C. Escher. The reason I am mentioning this is because M.C. Escher concepts are used for mind control techniques, as pointed out by Fritz Springmeier in his book The Illuminati Formula to Create an Undetectable Total Mind Control Slave." Is that the kind of book you want to read, Maxwell?
What's the title again?
The Illuminati Formula to Create an Undetectable Total Mind Control Slave.
I like that.
If the child has artistic brainwaves, then the programmer will use artwork in programming. The artwork of the European artist M.C. Escher is exceptionally well suited for programming purposes. For instance, in his 1947 drawing Another World, the rear plane in the center serves as a wall in relation to the horizon, a floor in connection with the view through the top opening, and a ceiling in regards to the view up towards the starry sky. Reversals, mirror images, illusion, and many other qualities appear in Escher's artwork, which make all 76 or more of his major works excellent for programming. Man becomes God, the final Illuminati agenda. By the end of the film, we learn that a higher power really didn't place the wormhole near Saturn, but rather humans from the future. This implies that man found salvation through mankind and not aliens or God. This is a key concept for occult practitioners because they believe that man is the new God, which ties us again into Crowley and Saturn. The beast, Aleister Crowley, left a heritage of Thelema followers, and one of them was the Brotherhood of Saturn. This magical order was similar to the other occult groups, whether it be New Age, Freemasonry, or Thelema. They all revolve around the idea of mastery of occult knowledge, axioms like as above, so below, which emphasize the duality aspects of man and world, in order to advance and evolve oneself in a series of steps and rituals. The Brotherhood of Saturn incorporates 33 steps to achieve the full spectrum of enlightenment, similar to the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which also incorporates 33 degrees. The end of the path for a member of the Brotherhood of Saturn is self-deification, an important concept in Thelema and seen in the realm of music, with musicians making themselves godlike. Kanye with Yeezus, Jay-Z, Hova, Beyonce, Beezus. Huh. Have you researched numerology at all, Maxwell?
No, I just ran into some dude who did the numerology.
So you don't find that the 33 degrees, you don't find that coincidental? I mean, you don't find any of that coincidental?
I find most things coincidental.
What if none of them are coincidental? Then is your assumption that they're coincidental just born out of ignorance because you don't have enough information to see the connection, so your cognitive dissonance forces you to believe that it's coincidental?
I don't know.
Interstellar also uses the same spiral we saw in True Detective, which is a symbol of the black sun or the black cube, aka Saturn worship. The spiral is occult symbolism for the black sun, as seen on the Nazi castle called Wewelsburg. The black sun and spiral are occult symbols with various meanings, one of which is the evolution of the soul from the three-dimensional material world to the ethereal spirit world, which supports the Saturn worship stuff that David Icke talks about. The reptilian shapeshifters locked us into this three-dimensional physical world as a trap, which is oddly similar to teachings in Christianity. The spiral is featured on the Interstellar movie poster to represent the black hole or wormhole. The black sun is found to represent the alchemical and occult belief in man becoming God. The great work is the journey to be godlike and make something out of nothing. It is initiated with the first step being the alchemical black sun. The black sun is the first stage in the achievement of enlightenment or immortality, which is accomplished through the philosopher's stone. The philosopher's stone is known for making lead into gold, and the planetary association of Saturn to metal is lead. The planetary association with the sun is gold. So turning Saturn into the sun is the alchemical process of the philosopher's stone based on metal transformation. When Cooper traverses the Tesseract, he becomes enlightened through the great work, similar to Commander Bowman from 2001, A Space Odyssey, who becomes the Star Child. In conclusion, it appears that Interstellar is yet another one of the films that seeks to predictively program the idea that mankind can reach a godlike status on their own, or basically the New Age and Age of Aquarius. Advances in technology are viewed as man becoming the god of their own universe through their own discoveries and invention. On the surface, it seems like the plot of this film is not that nefarious, but I believe the symbolism of Saturn, the monolith, and the alchemical great work all contribute to the idea that this is in fact a film of Illuminati significance. All right, let's go back to the coincidence theorist. So that was, for predictive programming to work as a valid form of psychological conditioning, the following set of general rules and assumptions have to be made. 1, a group of powerful people with common agenda might be able to exert a special influence over the entertainment industry. So we just went over various aspects of the entertainment industry. Okay, 2, people are less likely to resist societal developments that they're already been familiarized with. 3, the messages planted within fiction can vary in terms of their subtlety, ranging from subliminal clues to important plot points. 4, although predictive programming prepares people for large social change, specific events can also be foreshadowed. 5, the exact context of the predictions and the subsequent reactions of the characters within the story aren't strictly important. This last assumption in particular has garnered much criticism. After all, it seems reasonable to assume that if a protagonist was shown rebelling against a future dystopia, the viewer would emulate the protagonist's behavior and rebel against it too. Encouraging resistance and rebellion would, of course, defeat the point of predictive programming. However, it could be argued that this line of thinking is giving the general public too much credit. For example, in Orwell's 1984, he couldn't have painted a more chilling version of the Big Brother surveillance state. He warned us of an impeding totalitarian nightmare where people were watched and monitored during every waking and sleeping moment. He also depicted the protagonist, Winston, going to great lengths to subvert the control system he found himself trapped in. Yet here we are in an undeniably creepy 2015, and any meaningful resistance seems to be strangely absent. We might occasionally mutter, "This is bloody Orwellian," when surveillance measures are increased, but before you know it, we're back in front of our smart TVs, playing with our smartphones and fiddling with our smart meters. Actually, Maxwell, I remember back years ago, actually, I think you said Alex Jones said this, that superhero movies in general promote passivity. Because
Oh yeah, I remember mentioning that. I mean, I forgot whose analysis that was. It
I
might have
think it
been
was
Alex
Alex Jones.
Jones.
I think you said it was Alex Jones.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting analysis.
You want to summarize it?
I don't really remember, but that was the basic
What a
thesis. It
shocker.
was like that was the basic thesis, like the superhero, like there's so much chaos in the movie, and then there's this superhero that can handle everything, and I don't know. I guess subconsciously we hope for that too. So when there's chaos in society, we just hope for the hero to come out. I don't know. That could be the whole thesis.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. Also, I've noticed. I mean, especially in recent years, the symbolism in the past couple years, they've increased superhero movie production quite a bit. I mean, it used to be that there'd be a Marvel movie only once every so often. Now there's multiple movies coming out at the same time. There's
Yeah,
this superhero movie.
like I don't know. I mean, again, it's like a convenient thing for the Illuminati to fund or to kind of steer. But I think the whole comic Marvel industry that started 50 years ago by that dude or some other dude, I actually get the two mixed up, the Marvel and what was the other one? Isn't there like two major comic
Oh,
people?
DC and
Marvel.
Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, DC and Marvel. Like I get those mixed up. But as far as the characters and stuff, but like they started like a long time ago. It's not like I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Like
There's a
maybe
lot of
maybe the Illuminati trained those two guys to
Yeah,
become
there's a
comic
lot of
moguls, and
there's a lot of conspiracy theories about the origin of comics and specifically Marvel, DC, and all those as well. I haven't intimately studied them, but there are people out there that have presented interesting cases. And with Walt
but
Disney.
I mean, if that's even like if that's true, I mean, I give credit to fucking like if everything's true about like that was like the beginning of like it was started really back then about the whole agenda and the whole
Some people think
Illuminati
it started
conspiracy.
in ancient
Like,
Sumeria or
well,
ancient Babylon,
what
actually, where
well
they're
whatever.
building the Tower of Babel. That was to become gods. That allegedly it started way back then.
I don't know. I mean, if it really is Illuminati driven and it's like everything has been planned all the way from back then, all the way to the DC comics in the 1950s, all the way to now, then like they're doing a pretty good job, and they probably deserve to rule and shit. Because
Wow, that's dark, Maxwell. So you think?
I mean, it's like
I
I
mean,
mean,
some
it's not.
people.
I'm kind of kidding, but I'm just kind of giving so much credit because they work
Some
so
people,
hard.
well, some people who analyzed the Third Reich, they said that the Nazis were very meticulous in their planning, execution. They dotted every I, crossed every T. That doesn't mean they deserve to win just because they're good planners.
Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, I'm leaning towards more like the originals of the origins of like the comic books. They come from just creative minds of by people who just like comics and shit, and they created these characters. And then
And you
the
know, they were
Illuminati, no wait, hold on, the Illuminati group kind of saw it like, oh, this is kind of cool, like and then they started manipulating people inside the industry and I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. It
some.
could be completely planned, and
Well, some.
everyone was born by the Illuminati,
I don't know.
fucking alien and shit.
You're in a black and white fallacy. The truth might be something else entirely. What if they were all mind controlled into having those creative visions? So they didn't know that they were working for the Illuminati. They were mind controlled into becoming creative. And the Illuminati were they're the string pullers that enabled certain people to fund them or enabled them to get hired and publish this, publish that through their sphere of influence. So it's kind of like they mind controlled these people and then pulled the strings after the fact to get them into the positions. So it was neither they were born into it or it was all innocent. It could have been something in the middle.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'll consume it anyway, so we all consume their shit. So,
I'm not really into superhero movies, actually.
yeah, I'm actually like a little bit like I'm not into it as much anymore. Like I got it like when they first started coming out because like you grew up with that stuff. So it's like, oh man, I can watch this as an adult and like I can relive kind of like part of my childhood, and you know what I mean. Like, but it's becoming old and shit.
I don't really remember watching any of the new superhero movies. I mean, I watched superhero movies in the 80s and 90s. That's about it. I don't think I ever got excited for any of the new ones. It's just they were just so over the top. I don't know. I just never wanted to see them. But anyway, what would be the point? Reducing resistance and skepticism by familiarization. From the perspective of a controller or social engineer, predictive programming would be invaluable. You could prepare a population for future social or technological transition by gently washing notions over them as opposed to suddenly hitting them with seemingly radical and unfamiliar measures. Concepts that may have originally seemed outlandish or drastic start to become accepted as distant possibilities in the minds of the public. Eventually, as people are continuously bombarded with the same familiar themes, these distant possibilities start transforming into likely possibilities and even acceptable outcomes. Zombie fiction is perhaps an extreme example of this. Just imagine how many people have secretly conjured contingency plans for zombie apocalypse type scenarios, preppers, despite only ever seeing these events occurring within the realms of fantasy. That's interesting. Self fulfilling prophecy. Perhaps dystopian fiction isn't designed to warn the masses of a nightmarish future at all, but it is instead meant to hammer home a sense of inevitability regarding these bleak outcomes. Man, that's really, really dark. If even the most courageous fictional heroes fail to avoid such a miserable existence, what chance do we have? This effect could be likened to a large scale version of a self fulfilling prophecy. Tell people enough times that they're destined to live as microchipped serfs under a one world government, and eventually their own beliefs and behavior might start to reflect this hopeless prophecy. Once these cynical expectations of the future have been firmly established, a disillusioned population will not be surprised when these depressing predictions start to come true. How dark is that, Maxwell?
I missed the last part.
I think you missed the whole part. That the
Yeah.
last part was just basically going over self-fulfilling prophecy. It's kind of just if people see enough of the dystopian setup in their own brains, is it going to become an inevitable outcome and they're going to act accordingly, which is going to bring about the outcome.
Yeah.
Control of the imagination. Consider what could be achieved if the fiction you create becomes a precursor to fact. Since your brand of fiction can manipulate a population's perception of what is likely to happen, you have essentially gained control of their imagination. When control of the imagination has been achieved, you can set the boundaries of what is possible and when, thus allowing you to map out the fate of an entire people. Here's an experiment to try for yourself. Envision society 200 years from now. Imagine it any way you want and make it as fantastical as possible. Go on, be inventive. Okay, let's see. Does your idea of the future include space travel, aliens, artificial intelligence, robots, cyborgs, hover cars, self tying laces? Only when you stop to ponder this for yourself do you realize that your imagination has been severely limited by the science fiction you've been exposed to. This is actually an interesting philosophical topic. Can you ever have an original idea? Because are all your ideas simply combinations of existing ideas that from things that you've seen? You ever think about that, Maxwell? This mind shot.
Say that one more time.
Wake up, Maxwell. Original idea. Is it possible to have original ideas, or are all your ideas simply combinations of existing ideas that you've already been exposed to?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, for
Agreed.
example, try to think of an absolutely new color. Can you think of a color that's not a combination of the colors you already know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
I get that. I get that. I mean, a lot of our ideas come from fiction, and like, and a lot of these entrepreneurs too. They don't realize that a lot of their ideas come from fiction and stuff.
obligation. The reasoning behind predictive programming may not even be entirely practical. Some have suggested that, like a stereotypical villain revealing his master plan to the protagonist, the social engineers feel obligated to disclose their intentions to the population before they act. Many have speculated on the potential reasons for this, but I won't delve into that here. Well, I'm going to delve into this because this is mind shock and we need to delve into that. So, some people ask, why would they leave these types of calling cards or even leave all of this occult symbolism? So, what's interesting when you're talking about these types of people, and again, the common man might find it very difficult, like anybody, when you're first exposed. What was your first reaction to the Illuminati theory? You probably thought it was nonsense, right?
Um, I would say hmm, I would say the first exposure was that really famous documentary. It had a lot of criticism. It starts with, it sounds like theater. It sounds like it was pretty simple. You know what it was?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The real or some shit like that. I don't know. It was some documentary someone sent me.
How would
I
I
watched the whole.
know? How would I know what somebody sent you?
Uh, I think because I sent it to you, and we talked about it. I think
Okay, well,
it was
what was it about?
uh pretty much the whole. It was kind of like an alternative history, and then like and gave solutions at the end. But it exposed like some of the Illuminati
Is it called?
agenda.
Was it called spirit science?
No, it was pretty simple. Then they talked about the freaking what do you call that? That Tesla fucking technology with the fucking,
Free energy?
yeah, that kind of shit. What do you, the hex the what do you call that fucking the symbol with fucking, I don't know, I
That's
forget.
one for. I mean, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're asking me what do you
The
call stuff?
faded, the faded, the fear, the
Maxwell, I'm thinking of something. What do you call it? Tell me, what do you call it? What am I thinking of? Like, how would I know what you're thinking of, Maxwell?
faith, the far away, the rave, it was pretty simple. I don't know. It's a short word.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Maxwell. But anyway, so when I first, I don't know, I don't even remember how I first learned of it. I think I saw some 9/11 stuff way back when. But before that, actually, no, before that, I had seen some stuff with the symbolism on the back of the dollar bill and things like that. I guess I chalked it up to coincidence.
Oh, it was Thrive. It was Thrive.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
It's pretty good. I mean, I don't know why. Like a lot of these conspiracy theorists, they kind of like smashed it. I don't know why. It was kind of like a good
And
intro.
some people think
Like,
a lot of them are controlled opposition.
yeah, controlled opposition and all kinds of shit. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, people are like really deep into the conspiracies. Like, everything else is like fucking programming, fucking controlled opposition, that kind of shit. Like, I don't know. But Thrive was like a good intro because, like, after that, I just looked up all kinds of feed, like in my feed, Facebook feed and YouTube feed. It just kept going, and I went in deep for like 3 to 4 months. So,
Down the rabbit hole you
I
went.
mean, that shit was depressing as hell. Like, because eventually you get to like child trafficking and like sacrificing shit. That's the one that really, I think that just it just depressed me so much that I just left the whole. I was satisfied with what I found out. Like, I was fine with it. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
it's like for me, it's time to move on and just live my life. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I was in a similar boat. I guess there's even Epstein. I don't really want to touch it because it's so dark and depraved. And I guess the only benefit of it coming out more now is that the cognitive dissonant masses. I mean, it's kind of a repeat cycle. Every time major conspiracies are proven true, it's back to that whole. It's back around the merry-go-round of, oh well, they're crazy conspiracy theorists on the new conspiracy. It's like nobody's learned from history. But yeah, actually,
Oh, anyway, before I forget, like I just thought about when you were talking before. like privacy issues and stuff, like I would give like my medical history, like as far as like let's say if I have a dental implant, like I'll tell everyone about it, because if I get into an accident and I'm unconscious and they're gonna put me into an MRI and my fucking implant goes through my brain because they put me in a fucking MRI, like, you know, you know, I would like for them to know that, or everyone that comes in contact with me. So like you know, I would be chipped, you know, with all my medical condition and the history.
Why not just have a card in your wallet?
Um, because the wallet might come off me when I get into a car accident or some shit, or I get burnt half and shit, or like my fucking, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, it could be that too, but that's also privacy too. Like, it could be in my wallet. That's fine.
Generally, if they're going to save your life with some, why would they be putting you through an
Yeah,
MRI?
but also like fuck the chip. I mean, like, you can fucking like scan my eyes and shit. But if I burn my eyes off, then I'm
Yeah, but if
fucked
you're in
up.
a car accident, why would they be putting you through an MRI? I mean, if you need emergency surgery, they roll you into surgery and they repair what they need to. I mean,
Well,
look.
I don't know. I don't know how these medical procedures go. I mean, like,
Well, maybe
I don't know.
you
Like,
should do a
what
little
for
bit
what?
of maybe you should do a
Well,
little bit
for
of research.
whatever, yeah, but for whatever reason, like, I was just trying to give an example. It's irrelevant. I mean, I want fucking hospitals to know my history when I get there. Like, this like doesn't have to be my fucking dental implant and a fucking MRI and shit. Like, I was just making an example. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, an MRI fucking researched. You know, I'm just saying, like, the principle of the privacy I'm willing to give out. That's fine. And I'm not that fucking important. Like, someone's gonna fucking, like, I don't know. I guess if I'm a billionaire, like, someone fucking like wants to scam me and shit out of my, you know, like, I don't know how they're gonna scam me with my medical information. But I guess if you're a scammer, like, you
Well,
can figure shit out.
we weren't even talking about medical information. That's probably the least relevant of this whole. Who cares about medical information? I mean, we're talking about
Well, we were talking about like privacy issues and shit. Like
that has nothing to do.
people are
But
paranoid.
I don't think anybody cares about medical information. I mean, people care about
Well,
having
okay.
their identity stolen. People care about people already give their
Well,
medical.
that is identity. That is it.
Not, not exactly. We're talking like you can't open up a bank account
Like
with somebody's medical with because you have a heart condition. I'm gonna go open up a bank account in your name because I know you have a heart condition.
yeah, but like, isn't like my identity just part of my fucking medical history and shit? Like,
Yeah,
they're
but the
not.
identity, yes, but we're talking about the identity itself, not everything attached to it. So if you're giving your identity info, who cares if the medical is attached to it or not? That's completely irrelevant because if they have all your info, who cares if there's all
I don't know. I kind of see this whole thing as like the whole information about the person. I don't really like. It's kind of like a, you know, like whether it's financial or fucking social security, fucking government issued.
if they have your
Like, to me,
for
it's like
example,
one.
if they
To
have
me,
your
is information personal and personal information is personal information. It's not like, and
I think
privacy is
you're missing.
privacy.
I
Like,
think you're missing the whole point, though. Nobody cares about personal info. I mean, okay, maybe some people care about things like medical history and personal info that's not related to anything major. But if they have your blood, like let's say you're in the system, they have your blood type, they have your fingerprint. What if there's a false positive to a crime and then they pin it on you because they hacked your info and got your stuff? Like, who cares about medical history? Like, that has nothing to do with medical history. Like, that's completely not relevant to any of the main concerns of all of this. Like,
well,
or if they have your face scan, and so let's say somebody reports you for a crime you didn't commit, and now all of a sudden it's born identity, and they have your face everywhere, and they're tracking you down, and now they've infringed on all your rights off of something that's not even true, or there's like a technical glitch and somebody else who's wanted comes up with your face because you're both in the system and you never even allowed your face to be in the system, but now it's in the system and there's some kind of glitch and now you're getting like, SWAT team arrested in public. Like, you don't need that. Who cares about your medical history? That's completely not
well,
relevant to any of this.
well. I don't think anyone like. I don't think that many people like give a fuck about their privacy. To tell the truth, I mean, like, no one really like gives a shit.
Is that because of predictive programming, Maxwell?
it's possible, but it's more like laziness and
Yes. Okay.
inconvenience.
Yes. Of course, we already went over that. Let's go back to what I was talking about. He's saying he's not. So the coincidence theorist is not going into the reason why they're going to disclose their intentions. I was going into it. So similarly to how serial killers leave their calling cards, serial killers call the police and taunt them. They'd have a greater chance of getting away if they didn't do that. A lot of times they get caught because they're pulling stunts like that. So, but it's a game that psychopathic people play. So, if you're a psychopathic Illuminati member who thinks you're a god and you're entitled to rule humanity, you might not be. You might be compelled to kind of rub it in humanity's face, or like in certain sports where people start showboating early, like they've decreased their chances of winning because they're dominated by ego or they want to show off or whatever. That's not really that hard to believe. The other part is even darker, which it's more of a demonic occult reason, kind of like a vampire needs to ask permission to go into your house. So some people believe that there's certain laws of good and evil, universal laws of the occult, where evil must have your permission even if it's not explicit. So if they through symbolism kind of show what they're going to do and you kind of go along with it even if you don't explicitly understand, it's a requirement that the laws of the universe require for evil to facilitate whatever it's doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would make a good concept for a movie. Like to do you know what I mean? Like no one's ever done that. Like that would be pretty cool to, because I know they do it in
I've seen
vampire movies and shit.
I've
But
seen that done in certain demonic movies as well. Even Satan, like if you sell your soul willingly, you could have whatever you want. It's like you have to making a deal with the devil. I mean, there's certain instances where it's sort of touched upon. I guess it hasn't been done on large scale exactly like I just said, but all right, let's keep going. Some examples of how predictive programming might work: preparing the audience for significant events and disasters. In the 1998 blockbuster The Siege, New York is attacked by terrorists and is subsequently locked into a state of martial law. Could this have prepared viewers for the World Trade Center attacks and the controversial legislation that followed, such as the Patriot Act, the President's Surveillance Program, and the creation of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security? In the pilot episode of The Lone Gunman, an X-Files spin-off that aired on Fox 6 months before 9/11, the plot featured the theme of hijacked planes attempting to crash into the World Trade Center. This episode even revealed that the hijacking was perpetrated by the US government as part of an elaborate conspiracy. Do you remember this, Maxwell?
can you say that again?
In the pilot episode of The Lone Gunman, an X-Files spinoff. Are you familiar with the show, The X-Files, Maxwell?
Yeah, I love the X-Files.
Okay, have you ever watched The Lone Gunman, the spinoff show?
No.
Okay, I actually watched this when it first aired. I don't know if they ever aired that episode ever again, but this is an X-Files spinoff that was aired on Fox 6 months before 9/11. Are you still following?
Okay, 9/11, 6 months.
The plot featured the theme of hijacked planes attempting to crash into the World Trade Center.
Cool. Okay.
The episode even revealed that the hijacking was perpetrated by the US government as part of an elaborate conspiracy. Are you following?
Damn.
What do you make of that, Maxwell? Another coincidence in your incredibly high coincidence stack?
Yeah. Because as a writer, it's like you get creative and shit, and
Well, you're
like
assuming you know who the writer is. You're assuming they have no connections to anybody. You're
yeah,
assuming.
yeah. So I'm assuming, like, unless you tell me there's connections with the fucking like.
But if you don't know, well, I'm not saying there are or there aren't. I'm saying
Yeah.
wouldn't it be impossible to tell if it was a coincidence or not? And yet your cognitive dissonance seems to immediately jump to coincidence
Well,
instead of remaining neutral.
wait. Isn't it? Yeah, but aren't you? Oh, are you neutral? Because I'll stay neutral. But if you're not neutral, because you're not You're not buying into the coincidence. You're
Well,
buying
are
into
you
the
going to give into
probability.
Are you going to give into peer pressure, Max?
Yeah, but you're buying
opinion.
into what is your excuse for the probability as it
Okay,
is to
I'm
my
saying
coincidence?
I find it extremely suspect. It might be a coincidence. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I do find it strange. You don't find anything about anything strange. I find things strange that don't seem to add up. I believe that there's no such thing as a real coincidence, but what the connection means, I'm not saying, okay, just because it's not a
Yeah,
coincidence
but
doesn't
here's the
mean.
thing though. Here's the thing though. Like I could be wrong. I'm just saying like I don't know. It's like
Okay,
coincidental.
I'm making a very important point here. Just because I don't believe in any coincidences. I don't think anything is a coincidence. However, that does not mean that it's a black and white fallacy where because it's not a coincidence, it must mean that this was definitely predictive programming. This was put out by the Illuminati as predictive programming. That doesn't mean that. It could be something completely different that we don't know about. That's the real.
I agree with you.
But it still wouldn't be a coincidence. Coincidence means that there would be absolutely nothing related. I think there could be a strand related to.
Well, I never I never said absolutely. I mean, I kind of think it's coincidental, but like, I mean, I could be wrong if I get more information. I don't know. Like, I don't know what you want me to say about this.
Well, if you don't have enough information, you could just say, I don't have enough information to determine whether that it's a coincidence or not.
I guess. I mean, it, I think the podcast would be more interesting though.
Okay, let's go through the definition of coincidence because maybe you don't know what the definition is. A remarkable concurrence of events or circumstances without apparent causal connection. Okay, I'm saying there might be a connection. Now, what that connection is, how would I know? But I'm just saying to say like,
Would you feel better if I said it might be coincidental because that's
no, you should just
kind of like.
you should just say whatever you believe. I don't care what you say. This
I
is
mean, I think okay. I'll just say it might be coincidental because it's the same way you would say it might not be coincidental. I don't know.
well, you
So
could,
I would say,
but you could also say it might not be coincidental.
yeah, I could say that too.
Or you could say that's incredibly strange. I don't know. That's what I would say. You don't find it strange that this you don't, oh man, you don't find it strange that the lone gunman, now these are a group of conspiracy theorists in the X-Files. I don't know if the lone gunmen were in the X-Files. For someone who claims to be a fan, do you know who the lone gunmen were?
Well, I'm not sure if like I like the X Files. I don't know if I categorize as fan,
Well, you just
but
said you
I
loved
like them.
you just said you love the X-Files.
Sometimes I say fan because I just like them and I've watched a few shows and I really like it. So that means I'm a fan. But like a fan could, uh, it's
Okay,
I'm
so
taking
you're
it too
not a
light.
hardcore.
I'm taking it too lightly. The fan because literal fan is like fucking
Okay,
crazy.
well, yeah, fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not taking it literally as people
Okay,
would
so
say.
you're not a hardcore fan. So you've only seen a couple episodes of the X-Files and you happen to like them.
Uh,
Or have
I
you seen
wouldn't
a lot
say
of them?
like I've seen like 24 episodes, but like
Wow,
I always,
exactly
but
24 episodes. That's
well,
incredible, Maxwell.
I said
Your
I
memory
think
is fantastic.
hold on, I think I said about 24 episodes. I don't think I said 24 episodes,
Well,
but
I think most people would either say
yeah, but
20 or 25.
I'm estimating because like I just
You
go through my
estimate,
brain.
you're estimating with an exact number. That's really funny, but okay.
Well, I could have given a range, but it takes too much time. Like I could get probably around 20 to 30. Like what the fuck? I don't know.
No, I just find it
I don't know how many. I
I
don't know how
just
many
find it
shows I've
amusing.
watched.
No, I
I'm
just
thinking
find it
24.
amusing. You jump to an exact number because most people would round and just say, "I've seen
Yeah,
about."
but when I say about 24, it's like not 24, but about 24. Maybe it's 23. Maybe it's 22.
Well, if you think it's closer to 22, somebody would just say about 20. If you think it's closer to 24, somebody would say 25. I don't know.
Oh,
That's my impression. I've never met
well,
someone quite as unique as you, Maxwell. You're definitely a unique entity.
I about 24 because I go by dozens. Like so, I was thinking 12. Well, Well, I was like, damn, I think I watched more than a dozen. I think I watched a couple dozen, so I said 24, about 24.
Okay, so dozen is your default. Most people go by tens. You go by dozens. Gotcha. Okay.
Well, because people say, "Oh, I've seen it a dozen times." I'm like, wait, I think I've seen it more than a dozen times. So I think I've seen it twice a dozen times. So about 24.
All right. Let's get back to the task at hand here. So you don't find it strange. Let me rephrase it. Forget the word coincidence. Do you find it strange that 6 months before 9/11, the most well-known conspiracy theorists at the time, fictional conspiracy theorists, in the TV show The X-Files, which was one of the most popular TV shows on TV, they happened to have their pilot episode 6 months prior to 9/11 that just happened to be about hijacked planes attempting to crash into the World Trade Center that was actually part of a government conspiracy. You don't find that strange at all.
No, it's because it's like here's the thing, the World Trade Center has been attacked before, many times, and it's everyone's target. So when you're a writer and you're thinking of ways, it's been the fucking World Trade Center's been bombed before, so we can't write that because that's like kind of a we need something more unique. Well, we could do a missile. Well, kind of a missile is kind of rough.
You're not
How the
factoring.
hell?
Okay,
Oh, wait,
hold on.
hold on. How is a terrorist gonna be getting into the World Trade Center? Wait a second. They can hijack a plane, and then they fucking wrote that in.
Well, nobody would ever think that because again, even okay, we did a John Lear podcast.
Yeah, it's
How
not
hard
supposed
is
to be
it?
possible. It's not
Yeah,
supposed to be
so a
possible to
writer
fucking
wouldn't.
fly a plane.
Okay, so for example, the World Trade Center is not the only landmark in the world. Okay, you have the Eiffel Tower. If you're a creative writer, there's so many places you could pick other than.
Well,
Let me finish.
are there
Let me finish my point before you respond. You can pick all of these. You can pick the Tower of London. You can pick all these major landmarks. But let's say I'll go along with you and say, okay, World Trade Center is pretty big. Let's do World Trade Center. Why would they pick flying a plane into it? That's never like that seems unusual. But let's say, for the sake of argument, I'll say that a creative writer could have come up with that. Just for the sake of argument. What are the chances that it comes out a few months before? See, if this episode had aired.
wait, more of a chance, because that means, like, if one is thinking the same, the real perpetrators would be thinking the same, because that makes a good writer, is like a real
Nobody would think.
perpetrator. The real perpetrator in real life would do the
Okay,
same.
hold on a second. So you believe the real perpetrators actually thought they could so pilots with no training experience could pilot. You think that they really came up with the plan to fly a plane that they couldn't even fly properly against all the laws of physics that have never been done in the history. So you think the plot of Hijackers, you think instead of trying to do something that was feasible and actually cause some damage and like actually accomplish some kind of terrorist goal, you
Well,
really think those terrorists thought, regardless of whether.
we're arguing the coincidentalness, right, of the
Not right now,
the
we're
writer
not.
of the
Right now,
no, I'm not. Well, that's my argument. I mean, you're throwing some freaking, what do you call that that hey person?
what?
What do you call that? What do you call that when you throw a hey person?
What are you talking about?
When you it's like a argumentation fallacy when you throw like
Straw
a
man?
straw man.
It's not a straw man because I'm pointing out how your argument.
Or a fucking, or like a red herring and shit. We're arguing over a
No, but it's
fucking
not. But it's not a red herring. It's very specific to what you said. I'm showing why you have a
well,
non-congruent argument. I'm exposing your
okay.
fallacious reasoning on how it's a non-congruent argument. So let me finish. This is a non-congruent argument because you're trying to argue, because the argument that you just said was that some kind of creative writer, there's more of a chance that it would happen because a creative Hollywood writer who specializes in coming up with scenarios that are so out there and creative that they're not commonplace. You think a terrorist who wants to do damage is going to pick some kind of Hollywood over the top unrealistic scenario?
I don't think I said that.
You said
I think
exactly that. You said
no. This is what I said. I'll rephrase. A creative writer, a good writer, a good writer would do a lot of thinking of how terrorists think.
No.
Therefore, he would
Okay,
write it down.
Maxwell, I have to say,
Wait, hold
no,
on,
no,
hold
no,
on.
no. Let me cut you off.
He would write it down, and therefore, like
No,
the
but
real terrorists
Maxwell,
actually
this is the
make it
whole point.
happen because it
No,
was
it
a
can't.
predictive.
Okay, you
It
just
was
proved
almost
yourself.
predictive.
Yeah, you just proved yourself wrong. A creative writer, I agree with you. A creative writer is going to think how
Like,
terrorists think. Let me finish. No terrorist is ever going to think to pilot a 747 into the world. Nobody would ever think that. So a writer who's, according to you, good at his job, he's going to put himself in the mind of terrorists. So yes, they're going to be doing.
wait, hold on, hold on for a second. Wasn't the topic the writer was writing a terrorist attack that was fictional and it was government implemented, that was a conspiracy, or also like a double, how should I say, like a made up story,
Now you're
like
straw man.
terrorists.
Now you're straw.
No. Wait. Isn't that what your point is? That the terrorists are not even able to think like that.
Hold on.
Therefore,
Hold
so
on.
the writer put that in, right?
I was asking you. No, I was asking you if you found it strange given the event. Now you're straw manning like crazy. Your defense, your immediate defense was it would be more likely because the terrorists wanted to do that. So let's forget about whether or not it was a conspiracy. Like let's not even go down that path. Let's stick to the basics here. Let's say the official government story is true, or whether it's true or not. Let's say, like, because what's the alternative? So you're saying the hologram theory is true. What do you? I don't understand why you want to.
I have a lot of things, like the planes never hit the towers and everything was like, I don't really know. There's a lot.
Let's stick. All right,
I kind of just gave up on
Let's
it.
keep it okay. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple then. Let's go with either. Let's go with two simple options. Like forget what the truth is right now. We're just dissecting predicting programming. So this is just a thought exercise. We're not talking about truth. So either government agents posing as terrorists or those terrorists committed this act. Somebody committed the act. Let's say the planes were real. So you're saying it was more likely that it would come out that this episode would air relatively close, mere months before the event, because terrorists are thinking that. Like, on what planet would it? I mean, why would they be thinking? So, a Hollywood writer is going to think they're coming. So, you think a Hollywood writer thinks that getting into the mind of the terrorists is going to involve flying 747s into building? Like, the chance of success is so remote. Like, let's say it can be done. Let's say they didn't violate the law. Let's say the official story is true.
Let's talk more general here. Let's talk more general here. Most people think they have fucking unique fucking ideas and shit. They're like their idea is the fucking best thing in the world and shit. And first off, like you can do, the inventors do this all the time. Like you can do your research first and figure out, like 90% of the time your invention was fucking invented by someone else. Your invention is already in a fucking market and shit. I'm just saying, like your fucking, like the writer's idea, hold on, the writer's idea of a fucking like airplane fucking crashing into the fucking thing is not that fucking unique. Like motherfuckers like have fucking thought of it. Like it's not that fucking unique.
What other instance can
It's been movies were
name a movie?
made.
Name a movie.
Well, first off, not only is it a movie, a fucking real plane crashed into the fucking Empire State Building.
Yeah, it's not exactly. That's not a movie. That was an accident because it wasn't.
Yeah,
That's exactly the point.
Exactly. What I'm saying is not that the event. A plane hitting a fucking building is not that fucking unique. Like
it is unique.
No, it's not. It's fucking happening in the Empire State Building.
Exactly.
By a fucking accident, or it could.
Exactly.
It's irrelevant whether there's an accident or not.
It's like a meteor.
A plane hit a fucking building. It's the same shit.
It's like a meteor hitting the Earth. It happens once every however many decades. It happens. So you're saying, so if a movie comes out where a meteor hit the world, hit the Earth, and then a meteor hits the Earth a few minutes after, and it turns out the meteor is a conspiracy, you wouldn't find that strange either. How often does a plane hit a building, Maxwell? It's happened more rare than human. You have a higher chance of getting struck by lightning.
Well, they also made a movie out of it too. Like,
Movie.
you know, what, the meteor hitting the fucking
No,
planet?
no,
I
we're
mean,
talking
there's a
about
lot of
no, 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 no.
movies.
No, we're talking about a plane hitting a building right now. And you just pointed it out. It happened by accident. That's the whole point. How hard is it to do that on purpose? It's basically impossible. Nobody would ever do that.
What I'm saying is, like, the idea can be was disseminated by the accident in the fucking Empire State Building to the whole planet. You can call it fucking super. What do you call it? Super consciousness and shit. What the fuck do they call that?
Cosmic consciousness, but you're
No, not cosmic, but like the societal consciousness. What do they usually call that shit?
collective consciousness.
Yeah, collective consciousness, because it's like part of the history and shit, and like, I don't know, that
Yeah,
kind
but
of
it's
shit.
not okay. So, by that logic, anything is possible. Like people get struck by lightning.
But that's yeah, pretty much. I mean,
All right, let's do this then.
people
Hold
do
on,
get
hold
hit
on.
by lightning.
Let's do this then. So let's say a writer came up with an idea that a president got struck by lightning during his inauguration speech. And let's say a few months later it happened. Would you find it coincidental? Because I mean, people have gotten struck by lightning before. You wouldn't find it coincidental at all if a writer came up with an idea where the president was struck by lightning in his inauguration speech, and then it happens a few months later. So you wouldn't find that strange at all, right? According to your logic.
I wouldn't. What I'm saying is, like, it's possible that it's coincidental, but it might not be, because it could be controlled by fucking, like, what do you call that? The weather control government project.
Harp.
No, what do you call that?
Oh.
Like that tech.
Harp.
Harp. Yeah.
Just said it 3 times. All right, but Maxwell,
I couldn't hear you.
you missed the whole point completely because you're completely disregarding. So if it was a random movie, I still think it's weird. But okay, we're talking about the X-Files. We're talking about the lone gunman, a group of conspiracy. Like that's what the show is about. You completely disregarded that.
Well, X-Files has also gathered information from, like, real world history, so it's not like, you know, it's not completely fictional.
Yeah, but we're talking. What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. You kind of brought it up that the X-Files
No,
was.
I'm bringing. You're not factoring. I guess because of your memory, you can't keep more than one thing in mind, or even one thing in mind at a time. So you're not factoring in the TV show is an X Files spinoff. The lone gunmen are a group of conspiracy theorists. So you completely disregarded. You were just going with the idea. Well, I really don't think. I have no clue how you think a Hollywood writer thinks that inside the brain of a terrorist is to do the most outlandish. Like terrorists need a high chance of success. If you're a terrorist, like you want to commit your act of you're not going to pick the most insane scenario with the least chance of success. That's really stupid. Why would anybody come up with that? And how would nobody would even approve that idea? Like if you're trying to make a movie where that you're trying to make it believable in any way, like how could you think that a writer trying to get into the mind of a terrorist is going to think that they're going to want to try to fly a 747 into a building? Like it's kind of weird. Like they would never do that. The chance of success is too low. Like it's just stupid. You'd pick something where they'd want to get their hands on a bomb or something.
I had this. I had this. I wrote a novel, and, like, I thought it was, like, fucking unique as fuck, like the way the characters were interacting and shit. And then fucking 6 months later, I fucking see it on fucking Netflix or Prime and shit, with the same names and shit, with the same kind of relationship. Like, it was. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's completely different. We're not talking. You're not talking a single. Was there a single event or was something generic? Like we're talking about the world. We're talking about planes and the World Trade Center here. We're not talking about a random. Like if it was planes crashing into some kind of big. Maybe I don't know if they changed it up to make it more realistic and it wasn't exactly like that. But like you're talking about very generic. Like there's a million books that are representative of a million different scenarios. Did it happen in the exact same location that you put in your book? It was the exact same location, like the same address. If it was, I'd be interested to check that out. It probably was. It probably wasn't even the same state.
Oh shit! It was the same state.
It was?
I think so, but
That's a little better, but still.
yeah, um,
Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. What? So basically, nothing ever could be not a coincidence, according to you, because no matter how exact it is, you're always going to write it off. Like I asked you this question earlier. What would it take for you to think it's
Like you already talked about the Batman Sandy Hook thing, like the
yeah.
Sandy Hook. Like I think I remember watching a thing with that. Like that was kind of like that was pretty cool. Like that was pretty straight up. Like
So you don't think
someone
it's a
must
coincidence?
um. Right now I don't because it was just like fucking specific location. From what I remember in the documentary, it was like
And yet something like this lone gunman pilot, which is even more specific and even more detailed.
the specific with the fucking 9/11 thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
well,
so much more. Like, let me tell you this,
the World Trade Center is too popular. Like Sandy Hook is not that fucking popular.
I
Like,
know, but we're talking about planes going into it. We're not
yeah,
talking.
but a fucking plane crashing into a building, like I said, is not that fucking unique.
It is.
Like it's happened before, and like I think it's
Every
happened like
time.
3 times in the world history.
3 times is as far from popular as you can get.
Yeah, but it's fucking like
I
it's
actually think
not
it's
really.
probably. I
Well,
actually think
well,
it's probably happened more than 3 times.
Well,
But
well, well,
still,
it's
that
the event is so unique that I'm sure the news headlines would fucking programs people's minds and with the possibility of that happening. So it's not like it's not completely unique. I mean, it's kind of unusual to have planes hit the fucking building.
something happening 3 times in the history of the world is extremely unique and unusual. I don't know what's wrong with your brain, Maxwell. But anyway,
Well, like,
hold on. Let me go back to the Sandy Hook thing. I thought it was a coincidence. What made me raise an eyebrow was when I found out that Nathan Crowley was the production designer. That at that point I was like, wait a second. That's
yeah.
a bit strange.
You're actually like even more uh ahead of me as far as like being convinced of being coincidental.
Before I
Like you needed more proof than I did in that situation.
exactly, but and
So
what where you're extremely inconsistent is that the lone gunman pilot is 100 times more crazy than that Sandy Hook thing in the Dark Knight.
and then my argument is that okay, I got it. I guess because like because I still do the same. I mean, it's not like fucking the World Trade Center or some fucking unique building that no one knows about, like Sandy Hook and shit.
But nobody would ever think to fly a plane into it, let alone have be a government conspiracy on top of that.
The plane crashing into the World Trade Center has been thought about. It's not like
By who?
by writers,
By which writers? When?
people 6 months ago and shit before 9/11
Yeah,
happened.
that's the only time. That's the whole point. Makes it weird. If there's a movie coming out about it every year for 20 years, then you'd be right. I'd be with like you're acting as if something comes out. You're acting as if so many things came out that it was just it's not coincidence. Like whatever, 6 months before, who cares? Because this has been done so many times, but it hasn't. Like you're pretending it's been done so many times, so it's not unusual.
Did you say there was like a relationship with the writer and like some weird fucking Satanist?
In the Dark
Or
Knight with Sandy Hook.
oh, but not the 9/11 one, right?
The Lone Gunman pilot, I actually don't know who wrote that. We can find out. I can find out who wrote that. But that's besides the point. I mean, if there was, that's just going to add to it. But
Yeah, but like, and then I'll buy into it. But I don't think if it's just some weird fucking writer who just fucking like just writing shit.
yeah,
Like
but you don't know
I
if it's how do you know who that writer works
I
for?
don't
How do you
fucking
know
know.
that
But if
writer's
you
not part of MK1?
I don't know, dude. Like it might be coincidental or not. But like if you show some fucking weird connection with fucking Aleister Crowley with a fucking photo with him fucking making a peace sign and shit, then we can work something out.
Yeah, you don't realize that like there's so many layers to it. Like the Sandy Hook target, that's one thing. They didn't say there would be, it was Adam Lanza or whatever. It was some former student who had some kind of mental condition. They didn't say that. If they had, I'd be like, whoa. But that's what happened in the Lone Gunman episode. And yet you're like, nothing to see here. Like the amount of layers on it, there's 3 layers.
Well, there's mental illness is like rampant. I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind
but
of
in the
like
dark, Maxwell, you're missing the point again. In The Dark Knight, when they had target Sandy Hook, did they say that that target would be hit by some kid with with a mental condition? They didn't, and they had a picture resembling Adam Lanza or whatever. If they had done that, I'd be like, whoa, 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 there's no way that's a coincidence. But they didn't do that. There was only one layer, Sandy Hook target. That's it. With the Lone Gunman episode, there's multiple layers of coincidences that are so extreme and you don't bat an eye. But when there's only a small fraction of it, you're like, whoa, this is weird. That's so strange. I actually can't believe that you found that strange you found the Sandy Hook target thing strange, because usually your default is it's a coincidence no matter what. I can't believe you found that strange.
Um, like I said, it's kind of like specific location in the same
Yeah,
state, right?
nowhere near as specific as the Lone Gunman pilot episode. Like, not even close as specific. Like, not even in the same ballpark. Because it didn't
I
say.
don't know, man. I don't think you're getting the World Trade Center target as
I
like
am
some.
getting it. I'm completely getting it. What you're not getting is
Is
that
the
that's only
the
level one.
uniqueness of the fucking like plane hitting the World Trade
And
Center.
not just that, but on top of that, the episode also said that it was a government conspiracy. Whereas in The Dark Knight,
But that's easy to add on to anything as a government conspiracy. I mean,
okay,
like
let me. No, 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 not. But
that's
they
like
don't
part
do
of
it.
that's part of writers what do you call it,
Okay,
repertoire.
so
Like
why didn't? Okay, so the equivalent of that would be if they had an Adam Lanza type individual in the Dark Knight movie, in addition to Target Sandy Hook, and in addition to that, they also add. I mean, if the government conspiracy is that easy to add, why didn't they add that in the Dark Knight movie? Why didn't they say Target Sandy Hook by an Adam Lanza type individual, and that's also going to be a conspiracy? If they did that, then that would equate to the Lone Gunman episode. But they didn't do that. Why didn't they tack that on to the Dark Knight?
I don't fucking know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If they had, I would be like, that's crazy. But that's the exact equivalent in the Lone Gunman episode, and you're not seeing it. And you think something much more easily explained as a coincidence is not a coincidence. Because you already thought, like, without the Crowley's relative, you already thought that was strange. That actually mind shocks me. You never think anything is strange. Why would you think Target? Because they didn't even tell how they were going to do it, right? It just said Target Sandy Hook. They didn't say it was going to be a school shooting. That's the equivalent if they had said it was going to be a school shooting, and they had like, and then it would have been a conspiracy perpetrated by the government. That's the equivalent here in the Lone Gunman episode, and for some reason you're not seeing it.
Maybe like from personal experience, like I've probably like witnessed more trauma and like personal interactions that are really bizarre. So nothing to me is kind of like strange because I've seen
But
almost
you
everything.
found, okay, forget about that. You found Target Sandy Hook strange in The Dark Knight.
Not strange, but more like making sense.
What do you mean making sense? That it was predictive programming or what?
That yeah, somewhat like yeah, it's a predictive programming. Like damn, that's like if they specify a specific place, Sandy Hook, and then Sandy Hook gets hit later, like
Now, Maxwell, I've said this before. Let me say it again. What if they had specified it was Sandy Hook school, and there was a school shooter, and that was a government conspiracy? What if they had specified that in the movie? What then? Because they were so vague. What's Sandy Hook? Sandy Hook could be anything. Like, it's how is like that?
oh,
Could easily
was that vague? I thought it was like more specific than that. But,
There was a target on a map, but that's it. They didn't say it was a
oh, that was
school.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
then it's not that strange then.
Oh man. Oh man.
I thought it was like for some reason I remember it as like fucking the like some weird school like with a fucking bomb. I don't know, some shit like that.
But let's say it was a bomb and not a shooting. So again, it's not that strange. Whereas you have a plane flying into a building and then that being a government conspiracy. And in a Dark Knight, even if it was a bomb, That's still, why didn't they add the government conspiracy angle? I mean, you said it's so easy to add. Why didn't they add that in the Dark Knight? But they didn't. That's the whole point.
Well,
And in the Lone Gunman, they did.
because the Batman movie storyline has to go along. Like it can't get sidetracked too much as far as like government conspiracy.
So why? So how could this plot be? So this plot happened to be featured on a specific conspiracy show, as opposed to any other action show, like whatever, any kind of action series or whatever. And it was specifically this one. That only adds to the coincidence factor. It doesn't subtract from it. Oh man, this might be your worst episode ever, Maxwell. We'll have to see.
Hey, I don't know. It's just fucking like it's like I don't know. It's not a big fucking deal. Some fucking writer 6 months before 9/11 happened wrote about 9/11 getting hit by fucking airplanes by terrorists and shit,
and it being a government conspiracy.
and it being a government conspiracy. Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
And yet Sandy Hook target on him. Okay, whatever.
Well. Like again, I retracted on that because I don't think it's that strange.
So we just wasted that whole thing. Okay.
Well, I know because for some reason, like,
in the 2004 BBC program Panorama: London Under Attack, a fictional scenario was presented in which terrorists detonated 3 bombs on the London Underground and a 4th bomb in the streets above. 1 year later, as part of the 7/7 attacks, terrorists detonated 3 bombs on the London Underground and a 4th bomb in the street above. Were those who watched the Panorama episode preconditioned to accept the events that took place on 7/7? See, that to me is completely different because it makes sense that terrorists would be detonating bombs in the London Underground. Like, if you're a terrorist, you might. I mean, detonating bombs is what terrorists do. They don't fly planes into buildings. They detonate bombs. Completely different. I have no clue why you can't grasp that. I mean, it's like night and day. I mean, it's as different as you can get. So this one to me is not quite as strange, but I mean, you could say 3 bombs in the London Underground, 1 on the street. Okay, that's slightly strange because it's the exact same number, but I don't know. That's still not a lot. It's not like it was 14 bombs and then 3 bombs above. Like, it wasn't. That's not enough for me to be like, that's not a coincidence. It's not enough. If it was, it would have to be something crazy. The numbers would have to 3 and 4. Those aren't enough. But anyway, in the 1898 novella Futility, told a story in which a giant unsinkable ship with too few lifeboats called Titan crashed into an iceberg and sunk 400 nautical miles from Newfoundland. In 1912, a giant unsinkable ship with too few lifeboats called Titanic crashed into an iceberg and sunk 400 miles from Newfoundland. So we have these exact details. Are you going to think that's a coincidence, Maxwell?
I missed what you said.
Well, what have you been doing this whole time? The 1898 novella, Futility. The name of the novella is Futility. It told a story in which a giant, quote, unsinkable, end quote, ship, that's what they called it in the story. They called it unsinkable,
I like that.
With too few lifeboats, called Titan. So it's called Titan.
Nice.
Crashed into an iceberg and sunk 400 nautical miles from Newfoundland. This is the novella. Okay. Now, in real life, in 1912, a giant, quote, unsinkable, end quote, ship, that's what the Titanic was advertised as, unsinkable, with too few lifeboats, called the Titanic, crashed into an iceberg and sunk 400 nautical miles from Newfoundland. So we have so many layers here. We have unsinkable ship. Okay, well, I could write that off. Too few lifeboats. I could write that off. The ship is called Titanic. Titan versus Titanic. That's red flag number 1. That's too close for me, Maxwell. Okay, and they both happen to sink 400 nautical miles from Newfoundland. I mean, that's like 500 red flags right there. But you probably just think it's all coincidental, right?
Uh, wait, who wrote it? And how many years before the
It
Titanic?
was 14 years before, and how is it relevant who wrote it?
Um, relationship with satanic people.
Morgan Robertson. Morgan Andrew Robinson. He wrote short stories and novels, and he's the self-proclaimed inventor of the periscope.
Um, I don't know. It's like fucking almost like I've been studying a lot of like law of attraction shit. So like this could be like kind of like a manifestation, like universal consciousness type shit. Like he wrote it, people read it, and
Okay,
fucking
now
people manifest that shit.
then it's not a coincidence because that's the connection right there.
Yeah, it's possible.
I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought you were going to write that off as coincidence as well, like everything else.
Um, but yeah, like I don't know. Like I'm kind of I don't know. It could be coincidental still.
With that many details. So
Well,
no
yeah,
matter
Titan, fucking Titanic. I mean, that's a good fucking name for any fucking ship. Like, if you're fucking
400,
naming ships
they
and
just
shit,
both,
and you want it to be unsinkable, you're gonna name it fucking Titanic.
and coincidentally, there's not going to be that many lifeboats, and coincidentally, it's gonna be
Yes,
400
yes, yes.
nautical
Too
miles,
many fucking boats not having fucking too many not enough lifeboats and
400,
shit,
and they just
and
happen to
400 nautical miles and shit from Newfoundland.
so not 300 or 500, they're just both
Yeah,
400.
yeah, 400. Yeah.
And out of all the ways, like it didn't get damaged. They both hit an iceberg. And by the way, there are no icebergs in the area where the Titanic sunk. So
Mm,
yeah.
no
Just
shit. Well, how was like? Because I know there was like some reports and shit with the fucking ice on top of the deck and shit like that. I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
it
know
was
I don't
cold.
know the history with
I
that
think it
shit.
was cold, yes, but it wasn't. I don't think there were actually any big icebergs for the ship to crash into. But out of all the possible accidents you can have at sea, like the hull could have broke just because it wasn't built properly. Like the plot line is exactly the same, and I mean, I don't know, whatever. Someone who watched Kubrick's mesmerizing 2001: A Space Odyssey in 1968 probably had little reason to doubt the authenticity of the moon landing images they saw just a year later in 1969. Someone who watched Armageddon is likely to believe in the threat of a disastrous meteor impact simply because the concept is familiar to them and they have subconsciously accepted such a catastrophe as a genuine possibility. Someone who tolerated World War Z, I thought it was a good movie. What do you mean tolerated? Was not only exposed to the much repeated theme of deadly pandemics, but was also conditioned to accept that a vaccine from the World Health Organization might be humanity's only hope of survival. Oh man, this is a dark topic. This is really dark. Introducing controversial technology. A person who watched Minority Report in 2002 might be less alarmed when technologies such as facial recognition, retina scanning, driverless cars, predictive crime fighting, and personalized advertising start to become commonplace in their own reality. I still think it's creepy, and I've watched all these shows and movies. Those who grew up seeing their Star Trek heroes using communicators were familiarized with the idea of handheld communicative technology long before cell phones were introduced. Children who grew up watching lovable robots in films might be less resistant to the expansion of artificial intelligence in the future. The same could be said for young men who are constantly fed images of smoking hot fembot babes. You know what just occurred to me? What if robots from the future learn to manipulate time and they're the ones behind some of the influence to all the robots in the mainstream? So they're getting children and several generations to accept robots so in the future they can take over?
Yeah,
Or
that's a
they
good
will,
plan.
or they
That's a good
want to
plan.
take over sooner, or whatever happened in the future. Maybe humans weren't acclimated enough, and something happened where their takeover was prevented. So then they went back in time and influenced through brainwashing techniques. The robots are behind it all. This is like Terminator.
Yeah.
So then they made all these cutesy robots in children's movies and TV shows.
Mm.
Someone who watched their favorite crime drama hero solve horrific cases using DNA databases and invasive surveillance techniques might support such measures in their own future in order to keep everyone safe. Did RoboCop prepare people for police militarization and the introduction of robot policing? Even a Futurama fan might have been subtly preconditioned to accept the concept of microchip implants. Aliens. Curiously, no other theme seems to be repeated more than those based on alien contact and alien invasion. Regardless of your personal views on the subject, it's interesting to note that the belief in extraterrestrials has skyrocketed as generations have passed. Researcher Eric Dubay, oh, so this guy does know about flat earthers, summarizes this alien predictive programming with a brilliant anecdote on his website, atlanteanconspiracy.com. When I was a little kid, I once asked my 90-year-old great-grandfather if he thought aliens existed. He laughed heartily and said, "Of course not." Later on, I asked my 60-year-old grandfather the same question. He said he wasn't sure if they existed or not. When I first asked my 30-year-old dad about it, he said there were billions of galaxies and planets just like ours, and so there were most likely other forms of life out there somewhere. Nowadays, when I ask my 9-year-old students who believes aliens exist, in every class, almost every student raises their hands. Interesting. The consequences of this growing belief are interesting to consider. For example, a society today might believe a staged alien visitation event, but would this be the case if we hadn't already been indoctrinated with hundreds of years worth of science fiction? You know what's weird though? Like, for example, in War of the Worlds, when they first did the radio broadcast where people thought it was happening for real, those people didn't even see it on TV. They didn't have the visuals.
Yeah. Wait, so what about it?
It's, yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying,
Oh,
like,
so wait, so you're saying about like there was no predictive programming for them to accept it or some shit like that.
I'm saying it's almost like an overkill move, but I mean that's how people work though. Like if you're a general and you have an army, you want to completely crush your enemy. You don't want to chance it if the sides are slightly too even. You know, because that radio broadcast was in 1938, and people started panicking. But then again, people were also more gullible back then. Like people actually trusted their government back then. So I don't know. Like they trusted newspapers and radio broadcasts, whereas now a lot of people don't.
Oh yeah. I
No,
guess
it's
like
kind of weird.
so there was a little bit of a predictive programming through newspapers and like all that other low tech media, I
Well,
guess.
no, I'm just saying people were more trusting back then. People are less trusting now, so maybe they need more predictive programming indoctrination, and they saw this coming, so they saw the lack of trust coming. I don't know. I don't know. The coincidence theorist's conclusion. So, could predictive programming be used to manipulate people's perceptions and familiarize them with predetermined agendas? No, it's all just rubbish. Don't worry about it, says the coincidence theorist. All of the examples above are just pure coincidence and shouldn't be investigated further. Societal rulers have never used the mass media as a vehicle for propaganda, and they never will. What's on the box tonight, then? So obviously he's being sarcastic, but it's pretty I don't know. What do you think?
Mm, I missed what you said.
I just read the conclusion of the conspiracy theorist. He said, ah, how come you listened the second time and not the first time?
I don't know.
Just waste so much time. The coincidence theorist's conclusion. So, could predictive programming be used to manipulate people's perceptions and familiarize them with predetermined agendas? No, it's all just rubbish. Don't worry about it, says the coincidence theorist. All of the examples above are just pure coincidence and shouldn't be investigated further. Societal rulers have never used the mass media as a vehicle for propaganda, and they never will. What's on the box tonight, then?
Damn, they actually said that. That's so weird because I was like thinking, I was like, uh, I was pretty much like, well, you see me as a like a coincidental theorist, right?
Yes.
Um, but then they said that crazy shit like they never would use it, and I'm like, damn, what the fuck is wrong with you?
He was being sarcastic, obviously.
Oh, he was?
I guess
That's
it's
fucked
not
up.
obvious to Maxwell Powers.
Wait, that's fucked up. Wait, what the hell is that whole point? Why the fuck would he?
He's being sarcastic to get his point across.
Oh, but he was a coincidental theorist?
No, the name, thecoincidencetheorist.com.
Okay.
This is his conclusion, but the whole thing's kind of like a sarcastic tone to realize how silly it is that it's not a coincidence because.
Oh, wait. Oh, no shit. So he's okay, so he's got a sarcastic tone website and shit.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What difference does it make?
Oh, I don't know,
It sounds funny, even if he was being. I mean, I guess it.
Oh, because I thought for some reason I thought coincidental theorist was kind of like a reference to people who are theorizing coincidences, but he's actually like
he's trying to be.
It's like the title of his website.
He's being funny
That's sarcasm.
he's being funny because people consider people conspiracy theorists for believing that things aren't a coincidence, and he labeled it the opposite.
Okay, like
how ridiculous.
That's a cool label.
Yeah, to see how ridiculous it is to just believe everything's a coincidence like you, which is kind of funny because you believe everything is a coincidence and yet you still believe in conspiracy theories. It's kind of weird.
Hey, what do you mean?
Well, you believe in certain. You said you went down the rabbit holes and you learned what you wanted.
Yeah.
You believed it was true, right?
Yeah.
But yet you think everything's a coincidence, so it's just kind of weird.
I wouldn't say everything. Like
pretty much everything, at least on MINDSHOCK. Everything I ever bring up is always a coincidence. So.
All right, what was the question again?
There was no question. That is our podcast on predictive programming. What are your final thoughts?
Everything's cool.
Everything's a coincidence?
No, just cool.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed another edition of the MINDSHOCK podcast. If you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like the podcast, hit the like button. Feel free to share it across social media platforms. Any questions, thoughts, comments, theories, debunkings, or insults, just leave them in the comments section. You could like our Facebook page, check us out on Twitter, Reddit, Patreon. Patrons do get priority in requesting topics and cases and podcasters. This is Bruce McGuire signing off.
And Maxwell Powers.
We'll catch you guys next time.